Following is a class on Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 5, Text 21, given by H.D. Goswami on March 7, 1990 in Mayapur, India.
Atmani Yat Sukham Saha Brahma Yoga Yukta Atma Sukham Akshayam Ashnute Vayasparshe Swasattatma Vindati Atmani Jat Sukham Sa Brahma Yoga Yuktatma Sukham Akshayam Ashnute. So H.D.Goswami vai traduzir para os devotos brasileiros. Isso é porque você não usa a cadeira. Aqui na frente.
Em voz alta, tio?
Talvez um pouco atrás, pode ficar com a cadeira lá.
Em voz alta, sim. Isso não fica difícil.
Tá?
Não fica difícil. O grupinho, se puder falar deles.
So, Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport for this verse is as follows. Can you all hear? Can you hear back there? Huh? You can hear? Vaya sparsheshu, in external sense pleasure, asakta atma, one who is not attached, vindati, enjoys, godi. Atmani, in the self, yet that which sukham, happiness, saha, he, Brahma Yoga, by concentration in Brahman, Yukta Atma, self-connected. Sukham, happiness, Akshayam, unlimited. Ashnute, enjoys. So the translation, please repeat. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. Now, Srila Prabhupada's purport to this verse. Sri Jamunacharya, a great devotee in Krishna consciousness, said, Jadavadi mama chaita Krishna padaravinde Nava nava rasa dhama nyudyatam rantumasi Tadavadi patanari sangame smaryamane bhavati mukha vikhara sustni stivanam cha. Since I have been engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, realizing ever new pleasure in Him, whenever I think of sex pleasure, I spit at the thought and my lips curl with distaste. A person in Brahma Yoga or Krishna consciousness is so absorbed in the loving service of the Lord that he loses his taste for material sense pleasure altogether. The highest pleasure in terms of matter, highest material pleasure, is sex pleasure. The whole world is moving under its spell. The whole world is moving under its spell. And a materialist cannot work at all without this motivation. But a person engaged in Krishna consciousness can work with greater vigor without sex pleasure which he avoids. That is the test in spiritual realization. Spiritual realization and sex pleasure go ill together. A Krishna conscious person is not attracted to any kind of sense pleasure due to his being a liberated soul. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavari Paschatya Desha Tarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Maya Sparseshu Sakatma, Vindatyatmani Jat Sukham, Sa Brahma Yoga Yuktatma, Sukham Akshayam Asnate. So the topic here is pleasure, happiness. Can anyone say they do not want to be happy? Can anyone say they are not looking for pleasure? So here, Lord Krishna explains what is actually pleasure. He says, Bahya Sparsheshu. Bahya in Sanskrit means external. Bohi, outside. Bohi means outside. The material position is dhavato bohi, running outside. In other words, the actual happiness is here, within the heart, with Krishna. But we are rejecting ourselves, actually, because we are part of Krishna. So if you reject that which you are part of, you also reject yourself. For example, if someone leaves India, that means he's leaving Calcutta, he's leaving Delhi, he's leaving Bombay, he's leaving Nagpur, he's leaving everything. Isn't it? Because these cities are simply parts of India. So similarly, when the body dies, the finger also dies. So, when we reject Krishna, that must mean that we reject ourselves. How can someone who has rejected himself be happy? So, material life is full of contradictions. It is full of confusion. It is actually asat, achit, and nirananda. So, here, Lord Krishna talks about Bahya Sparsha, Sparsheshu, plural locative form. Sparsha means touch. This is Sparsha. So, Bahya Sparsha, if we want to translate this literally, of course, this is Sanskrit idiom. But to give you a little flavor, Bahya Sparsheshu means literally in the external contacts. Sparsha also means contact. Because what is contact? It means touching two things. Contact is a modern word we use for different things. So Krishna says in the external contacts. What are those external contacts? The senses, eyes, ears, nostril, mouth, and the sense of touch. These things are constantly in touch with the physical environment. And the mind is evaluating all these contacts and selecting them and rejecting. This is called Manoksastani Indriyani. The six senses, including the mind. The mind is considered a sense because it is the focal point, or it is the center of operations around which the senses are working. Just like, for example, let us say you turn on a radio and you're trying different stations so you find something you want to hear. So this is something like the function of the mind. So much input is coming, so much information is coming, because at every moment the eyes see something, the ears hear something. So the mind is regulating these contacts. For example, let us say now this particular experience is more oriented towards hearing. Therefore, the mind may turn down some of the other experiences of touching or smelling and concentrate on hearing. Or if you're driving, then the mind may concentrate more on seeing. Or not only in terms of practical necessity, but also in terms of pleasure and pain. Based on different criteria, the mind is regulating, accepting and rejecting sense experiences and directing the body. For example, to give a simple example of how the mind regulates, let us say you're eating a plate with food, you try something that tastes good, so the mind likes it, so it orders the hand, take more. And you eat something you don't like it, the mind says, that's rejected. So this is all bias sparsha. These are all external contexts. Now Lord Krishna says, bias sparseshva saktatma. We have to be detached in all these external contexts, in all these experiences. Asakta. Now, the word sakta, every Sanskrit word is very interesting, of course. Asakta. Asakta means detached. And similar to this word, sakta is sangha, which means association. So association means literally to go together with something. Just like in English, in America, colloquial English, they say that a boy is going with a girl. In other words, there's some attraction, some intimate relationship. Now, sangha means that. It means going with. In other words, you get some sense experience and you go with it. Krishna explains, dhyayato visayan pumsas sangaste supajayate. By contemplating the objects of the senses, attachment arises. Just like if a boy looks at a girl, then gradually, not gradually, very quickly, his mind becomes attached. That means somehow or other he identifies that my self-interest, my happiness is inseparable from this girl. This is called sangha. This is a sense of association. Sang means together, ga, going. Sangha. And then sangat, sanjayate kamo. In modern, again, in colloquial English, we use terms like to identify with something. Isn't it? This is a modern English idiom. I identify with something. Now in Sanskrit, this is expressed by the word sangha. Going with it. Or identifying with it. This is the sense, actually, of the word sangha. So now, what's the next step? You've been looking at something, maybe something you shouldn't have been looking at. Now, somehow or other, you identify with it. Or somehow, you think that you would be a better person if that was part of your life. And then the next step is sangat sanjayate kama, lust. Now I have to have it. Now I have to have it. I'm frustrated if I don't have it. Sangat sanjayate kama, kama krodho vijayate. And because I cannot get it, I become angry. Now actually you can never get it. Because The very word Bahya indicates that these things are extraneous to the soul. The very word Bahya, or external, means that it is not part of you. It cannot be part of you. The word external doesn't just mean it's something you see out the window of your house, or it's not indoors, it's outdoors. That's not the sense of the word Bahya. The word Bahya here means it is something which is forever external to your own eternal nature. It is outside of your real existence. It cannot be part of your real life. Actually. Now, why can it not be part of your life? And why is it therefore called Bahya, or external? Because, as explained in the Bhagavatam, idang hi vishang bhagavan iretaro. Although this universe is different from God, God is not just this table. This table did not create the universe. It's merely one insignificant part of the universe. But, in another sense, it is God because it is His potency. Krishna says, Bhumira puvanalu vayu kammano udhirevacha. The earth, water, fire, air, these are all my energies. So, what are these material things that we're trying to enjoy? To go back to the example of boy meets girl. What is that girl? That feminine body is nothing more than a creation of earth, water, fire, air, etc. Now, those are Krishna's own energies. They're expansions of God. Now, I see that feminine form as something for my sense gratification. That feminine form as an object of my sense gratification does not exist. Just like I see, let us say I'm walking in the forest, I see a rope. I think it is a snake. So, the rope as snake does not exist. That is Maya, not this. Now, the rope exists as a rope, and the snake is something else. But rope as snake does not exist. This is illusion. Similarly, that particular body or that particular form exists. And my happiness also exists. But that material object, as my sense gratification, does not exist. Or to put it a different way, myself as the enjoyer of that form, that I do not exist. That is called false ego. False means it's not really there. Myself as this body does not exist. And myself as the enjoyer of that other body does not exist. I exist, and those objects exist, but not myself as enjoyer of them. Or not that body as object of my enjoyment. So this is the sense of Maya. So, actually external means two things here. Number one, it means external to reality. It is actually outside of reality. It doesn't really exist. And even if you take it that the matter actually exists as God's energy, then it is external to my real self-interest because I am part of Krishna. My interest is to again establish, as it said here, Brahma Yoga, my connection with Krishna. Now, as we have often heard, we are in this material world trying to imitate God. That means, although I am part of Krishna, I am meant to serve Krishna. Just as by watering the root of the tree, all the parts of the tree are satisfied. So I am meant to serve Krishna because I'm part of Him, but instead I am trying to make material things part of me. You see? Just like this proprietorship, false proprietorship. Mamata is called. Now, take the same example. A boy sees the so-called attractive girl. Now, he's thinking, this girl should belong to me. You see, he's thinking this girl should be my property and be part of me. So whatever I desire, she simply does it. Of course, such things don't actually happen in this world. So therefore, the boy will be frustrated. And the girl thinks also, whatever I desire, this handsome hero is going to bring me. But also such things don't happen. These are fairy tales. So actually everyone is frustrated. Now, it is Krishna's position to have a feminine energy that carries out his will. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, that Sisti, Stiti, Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha, Chaiva Jasya Honani Bharati Durga. Durga, Maya, is Chaya, shadow. Chai doesn't mean tea in modern India. If you ever take a train in India, you'll hear this word frequently. But Chaya in Sanskrit means shadow, shadows. Now, just as wherever you go, your shadow follows, so the boy wants the girl to follow him like that. Isn't that the male psychology? The man is dreaming, hope against hope, that whatever I desire, wherever I go, the girl will follow me like a shadow. You see? He wants to be Krishna. Krishna actually has such an arrangement. Chaiva. And the man wants to think that his girlfriend or wife is very expert. He wants to think that. But actually Maya is very expert because she builds all these worlds. And that Maya cannot even come to face Krishna. Even that Maya. Try to understand. Try to understand Krishna's standard of living. Maya is so attractive that simply by putting a little drop of her potency into feminine bodies, all the men of the universe are insane. Isn't it practically? They're all mad. Now, all the men of the world are insane because Maya has taken a little drop of her attractive material potency and put it in some body. How attractive is Maya? Herself. Now, that Maya not only cannot attract Krishna, but she is ashamed to even, Vilajamanaya, she is ashamed to even come and face him. She stays behind Krishna because she does, so to speak, the dirty work in this world. So she's embarrassed. She cannot even face Krishna. So try to imagine Krishna's pleasure. Anyway, this bias parasheshva saktatma. If someone knows all these things, that I am not meant to imitate God, I cannot become the proprietor of these material things, myself as this body does not exist, just as a rope does not exist as a snake, therefore myself as the enjoyer of this world does not exist. Therefore, because it is not that this world is part of me, my property, but rather I am part of something greater. I am meant to serve for someone's enjoyment. And therefore, the messages that I'm receiving, oh, there's a very enjoyable thing. Here's a fantastic offer. That looks like a lot of fun. That place looks interesting. This is all false. Just like they had, you know who the Tokyo Rose is? Tokyo Rose? The Americans. No one's heard of the Tokyo Rose? Rose de Tokyo? There's a common modern technique in warfare that when two armies are fighting, for example, when the Americans were attacking Japan, there was a lady called the Tokyo Rose. And they would broadcast radio messages in English to the soldiers. This very sultry, feminine voice. Hello, John. And so on. And try to convince them, you don't want to be here. Your wife is waiting for you. Why don't your girlfriend go home? In other words, try to convince the soldiers, go home, get out of here. Actually, when the British attacked Argentina in 1984, you remember them? He knows the news. In 1984, when England attacked Argentina, also they had a lady doing that as a modern technique. Every time there's a war, you get some lady to speak in the enemy's language and convince them confuse them. You're losing the war. You're all going to die here. Then your wife's going to go run off with Peter, and so on. So you'd better go home. Anyway, demoralize the soldiers and get them to surrender to the enemy. So Maya is something like the Tokyo Rose. Maya is broadcasting all these messages. What is this Krishna consciousness? You can't be happy without illicit sex life. You can't be happy. Life is artificial. Come back to me. But anyway, all these broadcasts, this message is coming. The Tokyo Rose. Give up the war against Maya. Give up the fight. Surrender. Surrender to your senses. So a devotee, when he becomes intelligent, he realizes this is all nonsense. This is all nonsense. This is called Shastra Chakshu. That your eye is not this stupid bloodshot material eye that's simply lusting after some bizarre thing. The actual eye is Shastra Chakshu. You have to, the scripture, that is your eye. So you may see some attractive object, but if Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, this is not good, then you must know that it is not good. This is Krishna consciousness. This is Shraddha. Put your faith in Krishna. Whatever Krishna says, do that. And you'll see, by acting on Krishna's order, everything will be revealed to you. You'll see, yes, I've done the right thing. Krishna, there's one gateway, one door, which is very beautiful and luxurious. But as soon as you open it and go through it, it drops down into hell. That's called sense gratification. And another door, you can't understand what it is, you may not be attracted, but as soon as you go through that door, you will find yourself in heaven. In the actual paradise, lost, which is Krishna Loka. So don't be cheated, don't be stupid. All that glitters is not gold. If Krishna says go this way, then go this way. And if Krishna says don't go that way, then don't go that way. Sadhavan lavate jnanam, then you'll get knowledge. So a devotee, he knows these things. And therefore, he is asaktatma. He does not become entangled in these external contacts because he knows it is all cheating. Tokyo Rose. So bias parseshva sattatma vindati atmani. He enjoys in the self. He enjoys in the self. Jatsukam. Because there's real pleasure. Krishna, just try to understand logically. Krishna is in the heart. How much pleasure does Krishna have? On a scale from 1 to 10. Krishna has infinite pleasure. Infinite pleasure. And that same Krishna is in your heart. That means there is infinite pleasure in the heart. Now, you simply have to make contact. Just like, let us say you go to Bombay where there's so much money. Now, there's unlimited money, but you don't know how to make contact with that money. Isn't it? How many Indians go to Bombay to get money? Huh? But they don't know how to make contact with that money. Isn't it? So you have to know how to get that money. So similar, or electricity. Electricity is there, but you have to have a connection. Otherwise, you can be surrounded by electric wires and poles, but if you don't have a connection, you can't get anything. Now, yoga simply means that within your own heart and all around you in every atom, there's a supreme Godhead full of infinite pleasure. Now, how do you make contact? How do you contact that infinite pleasure? That's the whole problem. That is yoga. Therefore, Krishna says, Tasmat yogi bhava Arjuna. Therefore, become a yogi. Make contact with that infinite pleasure. As if you make contact with that infinite pleasure, you won't have to humiliate yourself as a pure soul, part of God, and go out into this nasty world like a dog or a cat looking for some cheap gratification. So Brahma Yoga Juktatma Sukhamaksim. This is unending pleasure. You will not die, Krishna will not die, no one will die, there will be no divorce, Not that, but I thought you loved me. Well, what can I say? This is the material world. Just like now, let's say someone thinks they'll be happy by becoming an Indian nationalist. But there's so many troubles. Or America. There's so many political troubles, so many economic troubles, but if you love Krishna, your pleasure will be eternal. That's the point. Anyway, I'll stop here. Any questions on these points? Yes?
Sometimes in order to create a Sankirtan consciousness, one is asked to stop thinking and just surrender into the Sankirtan mood. So how to transcend the mind actually and getting that contact with the super soul, pleasing and expand this Sankirtan more.
Is everyone here?
No.
Maybe you can stand up and say, save my voice.
How to transcend the mind and develop that mood of surrender to Sankirtan, contact to the super soul, pleasing Krishna.
Well, first of all, we have to believe in the words of a pure devotee. This is the freedom of the soul to surrender. So Prabhupada told us, if you want to please me, then preach, distribute books, and so on. Spread Krishna. In other words, if you want to please me, then help me to spread this movement. Prabhupada is a pure devotee. Prabhupada saw every living being as part and parcel of Krishna. And because he loved Krishna, he loved every living being. This is Prabhupada's teaching. Don't try to love anyone separately. But because Prabhupada has pure love for Krishna, therefore he must love every living being. And Prabhupada, why was he sacrificing his life? He was simply trying to spread this movement. Is there any doubt? Is there any argument about what Prabhupada's desire was? Huh? Is there any controversy about Prabhupada's desire to spread this movement? So therefore, Prabhupada has asked us, he has actually pleaded with us to spread this movement. So this is the way to actually show our love for Prabhupada. And even we must act. We must give our life. What is this one life? This life will be over today or tomorrow. We have given so many lives for bodily maintenance. Why not give one life for spreading love of God, love of Godhead? And Krishna, when Krishna has given his word that I will take care of you. Nowadays, for some people, the Maha Mantra is security. They're concerned about security. But actually, the only security is to become dear to Krishna. Because who else will protect you but Krishna? Who else actually has the power to maintain you? I may say, I have money, I'll maintain you. But in 1 second I can die, I can lose everything. So it is only Krishna that can guarantee our security and protection. It is only Krishna that can actually guarantee our maintenance. No one else can guarantee that. Because no one else is all-powerful. Everyone else, at any moment, can be finished. So Krishna is the only one who can actually maintain us. So we have to believe that and try to please him. Any other question?
Totally is practicing working in service, then by some circumstance did he fall down? What is the cause?
Fall down? Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that one falls down because of offenses against other devotees or bad association. These two things. Sangha dosha or nama aparad or Vaishnava aparad. Where's the scope for falling down if you stay in good association? That means we should not hear anything except Krishna. We should not see anything but Krishna. Does that mean we become like robots? We go around like this? No. There's so much to hear about Krishna. Because Krishna's in everything. Everything can be discussed in a Krishna conscious context. To say only hear about Krishna means you hear about everything, but in relation to Krishna. That's the only. We see everything, but in relation to Krishna. That means, according to your level of spiritual advancement, it will depend how many things you can hear and see in relation to Krishna. Just like a fire. The bigger the fire is, the more you can put fuel in it. The fire is big enough, you can put the whole earth in it. Similarly, how many sights and sounds can you spiritualize? I remember when I was a brahmachari, knew Bhakta so-and-so, as Prabhupada said. The first week we used to go on Sankirtan, Harinam, in Berkeley, California. And because I was so new, I remember just for hours just looking at the brahmachari sweatshirt in front of me. There was a brahmachari in front of me with his shirt on, and I was just looking at the next shirt. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. So now I can look also around and it's just like a little child. A little baby, you can only see very little. Then gradually you can see more, because see with comprehension. Actually, to see only Krishna means to see with comprehension. If you look at a particular object and you cannot see Krishna there, that means you cannot see it with comprehension. You understand? Or if you hear some sound and you cannot hear Krishna there, that means you are not hearing with comprehension. Because Krishna is there. And if you don't hear or see Krishna, it means you don't understand. So therefore, another way of saying it is only look at things that you can see with comprehension, and only hear things that you can hear with comprehension. Only listen to things. That means when a devotee advances, he sees and hears everything, much more than a karmi. He sees everything. But he sees Krishna. That's the only thing that you have to see Krishna there. So, yes?
So when you say that we should see with comprehension, does that mean that if you see something that you enjoy that you're not comprehending it?
Absolutely. Because that thing, as your object of sense gratification, doesn't exist. It is Krishna. It is Krishna's own energy. And Krishna is there looking at you from within that object. It's just like some stupid thief. He's such an idiot. He walks into a bank. There's policemen on both sides with machine guns. He doesn't see them. He walks in and with his little water gun or something. So the laws of nature will not allow it. In other words, let's say you see something you want to enjoy. That, whatever it is, food or what, that object as your object of sense gratification doesn't exist. Just as a rope is not a snake. It is Krishna's own energy meant for his service. So therefore you are seeing something which is not really there. It's practically being blind. Actually you are blind. Therefore it is said, Chakudan dilo jay janme jani Prabhu said. There's a spiritual master who gives us eyes. Otherwise we have no eyes. Om jnana timiran dasya. Blinded. Andhajatan dhairupaniyama. Blind leading the blind. So, when I see something I don't see Krishna or Krishna's service there, that means I'm blind. So actual seeing means seeing Krishna.
She said that due to offense or bad association you fall down. What about people like Krishna Das, who was associating with Lord Chaitanya? He fell down. And also in the Bhagavad Gita it says that like lust is the all-devouring sinful enemy. So would it mean that also can be due to sensual weakness?
Due to?
Sensual weakness.
When Krishna Das was traveling with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was seduced actually. They enticed him to come. We can imagine they, offered him different things and they enticed him. So that means at the moment he began to see that as possibly an object of enjoyment, immediately he was associated with that illusion. Actually, this is stated in the Bhagavatam, 11th canto. Bhayang ditya viniveshatak sari sarape tatsya viparyo smriti. How do we forget Krishna? It begins by dvitiya abhiniveshata, by letting the mind become absorbed in something which appears to be not Krishna. You understand? Dvitiya. Dvitiya, you understand, means a second thing. The first thing is Krishna. Now, you think you see something else which is not Krishna, and your mind becomes absorbed in it. Then there's illusion. Ishara petasya. You turn away from God. Actually, there is no second thing. As stated in the Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, Vrite artham jat pratiyeta. That which appears to be real, no pratiyeta, that which is not seen in Krishna, it has no meaning. It has no actual reality. It is just tat vidyana atmano maya. It's Krishna's illusory energy. So again, if you see Krishna, how will you try to enjoy it? You understand? Just I gave a simple example. Let us say a boy is trying to seduce a girl. In the Western countries, this goes on every day and every night. So let's say a boy is trying to seduce a girl. So he dresses up, takes 30 minutes to comb his stool. He goes over to her house. The door opens. He walks in. There's the father. The father just sits down there in the living room. This newspaper. Don't mind me. You two just have a good time. So everything is finished. Well, can I take her out? No, she has to stay home. You just sit here and talk. That's all right. It's finished, isn't it? So that's the idea. As soon as Krishna is sitting there with his newspaper, all right, go ahead. There's no sense gratification. Isn't it? So that's the point. As soon as you see Krishna somewhere, there's no sense gratification. So therefore, the precondition or the prerequisite for becoming an ass and a pig and trying to enjoy sense gratification is that first of all, you must not see Krishna. Now, since Krishna is everywhere, that's a problem. Therefore, to satisfy our pigly desires, Krishna brings his Maya and she creates the appearance of something which is not Krishna. That's also Krishna, but it appears to be Dvitiya, a second thing. And then we can immediately enter into what is called in America hog heaven. You know this term? In America there's a term, you know this? Hog heaven. If someone is enjoying in a gross way, they say he's in hog heaven. Schweiner Himmel. So material life means hog heaven. Paradise of pigs. So this is sense gratification. You understand? So as soon as you see something and you don't see Krishna there, that means Maya is captured. That means you've given over your mind to illusion. Then the question of sense gratification arises. Any other questions? Yes.
How we learn to discriminate properly and dovetail everything in Krishna service. I mean, externally we can do things, but internally...
Prabhupada said that is Vijnana. What you're referring to is Vijnana. Jnana Vijnana Sahitam Yogyata Moksha Shuhat. If you want to become free from unhappiness and misfortune, you must have Jnana and Vijnana. Knowledge and realization. So how does that realization? That you trust Krishna. That Krishna says something and you trust him and you act on his order. Then he'll reveal it. This is so nice, isn't it? This is a very beautiful thing. This faith is a very beautiful thing. Just like we see that the child has his loving parents and he simply surrenders to the parents. As soon as there's some difficulty, he goes to his parents and they pick him up. So this very beautiful faith must be there in Krishna. that as soon as there's any little trouble, one immediately, like the children, they go to their parents, pick me up. Isn't it? So this type of faith has to be there with Krishna. You have to actually believe in Krishna, love Krishna. And whatever he says, you must put it in your heart. Always serving Krishna. Bhajatang and worshipping him priti purvaka, with love. Then Krishna says, Dadami, I'll give you bodhi yogam jinamam upajanti. That knowledge by which you will come to me. Krishna is your father and your mother and your grandfather and your creator. Pitahamasya jagato mata dhata pitama. Krishna, all the love of a mother, that Krishna has that for you, and all the love of a father and the grandfather and everything. Krishna loves you in every way. And therefore, as soon as someone surrenders, Krishna takes charge. It's very nice. Yes? You do know Krishna. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema. There's no question of not knowing Krishna. You're pretending not to know. Cosa? Più alte.
Un devoto può acquisire la visione spirituale attraverso la conoscenza.
Attraverso?
La conoscenza.
Sì. Sì. Coscienza, la coscienza originalmente è pura, dopo si contamina.
Coscienza e conoscenza.
La stessa cosa. I don't speak. Tu puoi tradurre. She asked about consciousness and knowledge. Actually, in Sanskrit, the word jnana can mean consciousness, also knowledge. Jnana, you know, is the word knowledge. But also in the Bhagavad Gita verse, Apratam jnanam etena, it is translated, our consciousness is covered. So, consciousness means knowledge. But now it is covered, that's all. Hear about him. How do you channel your love towards so many hogs and dogs when you hear about them on television? Isn't it? Just like, take that, we hear in the newspaper, this person, that person, and everyone becomes enchanted. Now, you never met that person, you don't know that person, but you heard about them. So now hear about Krishna. Krishna is present in his Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is present in every word of a pure devotee. So as soon as you hear about Krishna from Srila Prabhupada, that love is revived. Just like waking up. When you wake up in the morning, you don't have to read a book about who you are, where you live, memorize everything again, memorize photographs of your family. As soon as you wake up, the knowledge is there. Isn't it, practically? As soon as you wake up. As soon as the alarm bell goes off. So as soon as you hear this Hare Krishna, you can wake up. Because as Prabhupada said, we are all originally Krishna conscious. Você entende o inglês? Estou falando assim meio com sotaque. Any other question? Yes?
I gave an example about the boy going looking for a girl, the father sitting in the newspaper. Because of that, we're not able to love themselves in God. It seems like an artificial state the moment that the father leaves, he will still go to enjoy.
Yes.
And that's not the way we should. Is that the actual way we should live ourselves and then we see?
That's a fact. He said that the example of the father with the newspaper and the boy and the girl, but as soon as the father leaves, he goes back to his business. Yes, therefore people go to church and they act like human beings, but as soon as they leave the church, they don't act like human beings. Therefore, there must be a higher taste. If one comes to love the father, then he will stop his attempt. isn't it? If he actually loves the Father. Just like there's a very famous story in the Mahabharata, which is told a little bit, the story is told in Srimad Bhagavatam of Devayani and Yayati. You know that story? So the story why Devayani was cursed that she could not marry a Brahmin boy, she had to marry a king, therefore she married Yayati. Because one time the demigods fought the demons, and the demigods smashed the demons. But the priest of the demons, Shukracharya, had this power called Sanjivani. By this Sanjivani, if a demon was killed, but his body was not mutilated, then he could bring him back to life. So the demigods fought very hard, all their energy, they killed the demons, they go back home, then the next day they see on the television all the demons are back again. So the demigods became completely frustrated and didn't know what to do. So they decided somehow or other they also had to get this, so they had another battle. At this time the demons defeated the demigods. But when the demigods went to their priest, Brihaspati, and said, now you do what Shukra did, Brihaspati said, I never studied that in college. I never learned that Sanjivani. So I don't know how to do it. So the demigods were completely demoralized. And they had a H.D.Goswami GBC meeting. And they decided that they had to get this science from Shukra, otherwise they could not fight with the demons. So Brihaspati's son was named Kocha. He was a very nice young Brahmin boy, very handsome, beautiful, expert in harmonium and bhajan, so many things, music. So they decided, this Kacha was so nice, he was so innocent, that he was the only one that could melt the heart of Shukra. You know the story? So they sent Kacha, and Kacha went there very humbly and said, he could not lie, and Kacha, son of Brihaspati, please accept me as your Shisha, as your disciple. So all the demons, like Vrishaparva was the demon king, he said to their priest, Shukra, stay away from this boy. He's from the demigods. So Shukra says, no, I'm a Brahmin, and he's a Brahmin, he's come to me very nicely, he's a good boy, he can be my disciple. So he took him, and Kacha served him very nicely. But Kacha had been warned before he went that you must be very careful with Shukra. He's very attached to his daughter. If you please his daughter, you'll get everything. And if you don't please his daughter, you'll get nothing. So therefore, Kacha was very nice to Devayani, the young girl. And he was very nice to her, would preach to her. And he would have very nice bhajan, and she would come and listen with her. Anyway, they were doing all the things that boys and girls do together, although there was no illicit contact. There was not even a question of it. There was no question. But, as we know, when people are self-controlled, then, on a subtle plane, there's strong feeling. So, this Kacha and Devayani, he actually charmed her and she fell completely in love with him. So one day, the demons decided that this Kacha is too dangerous. He's getting too influential with our priest. So one day when Kacha went out to take care of Shukra's cows, they went and they killed him. After they killed him, and he was eaten up by wolves and tigers. So therefore, he didn't come home that night, and Devayani heard about this, that he didn't come home, so she was overwhelmed with anxiety. She loved him so much. So she went to her father and said, where is Kacha? I feel they've killed him. The demons have killed him. So then by Shukra, by his power, just meditated on him and brought him back. He burst out, killing the animals, and he came back and stood there. He explained everything that had happened. Anyway, so then, after that, the demons decided to kill him again. I tried to understand, even though Shukra was their guru, they were going to kill him. They were going to kill their guru's own disciple because demons are not very... They're demons. They're rocks. They're no culture. So this time, to make sure he could not... to really kill him, they were so demonic. They killed Kacha. They cut him up into little pieces. They took these pieces, they mixed it into Shukracharya's food, and then they waited. One time Shukracharya was drinking some spirits. In those days, Brahmins would drink, and that was the last time they ever drank because of this incident. Shukra was drinking, he was feeling pretty good, and a little distracted, so then they gave him his own disciple mixed in his food, and he ate him. Then again, he didn't come home that night, and again, Devayani went to her father and said, "My father, if you love me, you must get me Kacha. I'll never be happy unless you bring back Kacha." So then Shukracharya said, "Kacha, where are you?" And then he heard a void answer, "I'm here." "What? Where? What?" He said, "I'm here inside your stomach. You ate me."
Oh my God.
So then he said, "Well, how did that happen?" He said, "Well, you were drinking and you didn't notice." So then Shukra said, "I declare from this time on, Brahmins are forbidden to drink." That was the last time Brahmins could drink. So then he said, then Shukra said, "What am I going to do now? If I save you like I did last time, then you'll burst out and you'll kill me. Then you'll be alive, but I'll be dead. And that's not so interesting. And if I don't save you, then Devayani will die, and then I'll be as good as dead anyway." So then Kacha saw his opportunity. He said, "Here's what you have to do, Gurudev. You give me now the power of Sanjeevani. You give me that power. Then call me out. I'll come out, bursting out of your stomach, and I'll kill you, but then I'll immediately use that power and bring you back to life. Then we'll both be alive." He's intelligent, Kacha. So Shukra said, "Yeah, that's a good idea." So Shukra taught him the Sanjeevani, and he actually learned it. Then he called him, "Come out," and he burst out and killed Shukracharya. And then Kacha was actually Brahmin, he was honest. So immediately he brought Shukra back to life. And then Shukra blessed him. He said, "You've pleased me so much. You keep this Sanjeevani, Vidya, this science, Vidya means science, and now you satisfy me, you can go home." That was the system. You had to stay with the Guru until he gave you your diploma, certificate. Then you could go home and do your service. So then when Devayani heard he was leaving, she immediately went to him in a private place and said, "You must take me with you, you must marry me, because actually I'm in love with you now." And Kacha, this is the point I was making, he said, "Actually, I can't marry you." "But why?" And he said, "Because I actually accepted your father as my guru. And I have so much respect for him that it's impossible for me to have that kind of relationship with you, because I actually see you as my guru also." And she gave a reply that most girls would give. She said, "That's nonsense." She said, "That's nonsense. I'm not your guru. He's your guru. I'm your age. Don't say that I'm your guru." So he insisted that no, it was impossible for him. But I was answering your question. Then I'll finish the story. That because he actually had this love, he actually accepted Shukra as his guru, he could not, even in religious marriage, could not accept the daughter. He had so much reverence for the guru. Now, she tried in so many ways, gave so many arguments, quoted this scripture and that scripture, but he wouldn't change. So finally, she just said, "All right." Then she cursed him. She said, "Oh, you rascal, you frustrated me like this. Then I curse you. That you spent so many years, you went through so much trouble to get Sanjeevani, you'll never be able to use it." He said, "Oh yeah? Well, take this. Then you want to curse me, then I curse you. You'll never even marry a Brahmin. What to speak of me? No Brahmin will ever marry you. So then, Kacha went home to the demigods, and he got a ticker tape parade when he came back, and they realized that he had brought back Sanjeev, and he had a big celebration, big festival. And then he said, no problem, I'm cursed, I can't use Sanjeevani. So he just taught it to the other Brahmins, and they could use it. But as far as Devayani is concerned, she could never marry a Brahmin. So later, as in the Bhagavatam described, she went out playing with Sarmista, who was the daughter of the king, the demon king, and they were playing. They were in the water, and when they came out, they were a little bewildered. I forget what was the incident. I think there was a wind, or something happened. There was a wind came up, and so Sarmista accidentally took Devayani's clothes. Devayani said, "You rascal, you this, you that." She insulted like anything, and Sarmista, because she was the daughter of a demon king and had that blood, she just said, "Oh yeah." She took her and threw her in a well and left her there to die. Then Yayati happened to come there, and he put out his hand and took her. And once he took her, she said, "Well, guess what? We're married. You just took my hand." He said, "But wait a second, you're a Brahmin's daughter." He said, "Nope." She said, "No, I can't marry a Brahmin. Actually, I got to marry you." Anyway, that's all described in the Bhagavatam. But the point I was making is that when there's love for the Father, there's no question of